Morning, good afternoon, good evening, all our audience. Welcome to this special session, and I'm honored to have Dr. Basu Ray, who's a very accomplished physician, a mentor, and a professor taught at Harvard, at Ames. And he's going to talk about importance of research and a unique research course that his team is offering for the IMDs. So, welcome, Dr. Basu Ray. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khera. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So let's start with a bit of an introduction about you. Tell us about your journey. Tell us, how you yourself have navigated this path and how you are now helping IMDs.
So you see, I did my India's ultimate degree, that is in cardiology in India. So I did my MBBS, then did my MD, and then did my cardiology. And the unfortunate part is, despite being extremely competitive, because I always studied in academic colleges, not in private schools or anything, I really learned very little of research. But coming to this country, I found that research is the currency for being in medicine, for progressing in medicine, having a career in medicine. So literally, I had to go through a second birth, in the sense, a second birth in the medical world by learning research technique, learning basic statistics. And as I started publication, that not only helped me in getting into my residency, but helped me throughout getting into fellowship. And then getting a good job. And then even fellowships are of different types. Like I had to do cardiology, then I had to do a super subspecialty fellowship in interventional cardiac electrophysiology, which is also very high in demand. And I did this, and then I did my, even for my application at different level, like assistant professor, associate professor, professor, at every level, they look for publications. So that's how my journey has been. So what I learned at a much older age, wasting, maybe I would say, I'm not sure if the word wasting is good, but technically yes, because if I had learned all this when I applied for my residency, I would have been well set, well ahead, but I was not. So what I'm trying to do is showing the pathway by which a foreign medical graduate can actually get research under their collar and apply to residency, because that improves your residency competitiveness, gives you an edge which nobody else has have. Secondly, that is the currency that you're going to use all your life in your entire medical career. It doesn't matter whether you get a job, you do private practice, you do different residencies or fellowship. Everywhere they are going to look at what you have published.
Okay. So I think you answered a question already, which I was going to ask: why has research become so important in the match? But let me ask you a broader question: what factors are now very important for a residency application in addition to research?
Yeah, so there are three things which are very important in any residency application, and also in a fellowship application to some extent, but chiefly in residency application. The first and foremost is having a good USMLE score. Now, USMLE score, of course, doesn't come into account when you're applying for fellowship. They are not going to see your USMLE score. They're not going to ask you for USMLE score, but yes, they do. Second thing they look for is, what are your credibility? Now, as you know, ERAS requires 3 clerkship letters from people who have done observership. That is the minimum requirement. But a clerkship observership does not let me decide if A is better than B, or B is better than C, or C is better than X, Y, and Z. Because none of them tells us what their caliber is. So if you want to have a competitive edge, so it is important to understand that in the early 20s, 2021, there were almost 4,000 to 5,000 people who never matched. So the number of matches versus number applied showed a deficit of around 4,000, 5,000. In 23, that became around 7,000. So around 14,000 people applied, only 8,000 matched. And the sad part is that the section that had got mostly butchered were not American graduate, but foreign medical graduate for different reasons. So it is important that if you have to, for example, with one of the residencies where I was a program director, we had 10 seats, but we had 2,276 application in 1 year. So how am I supposed to choose these guys? So the way to come and come to the edge and make yourself the top in that list is if you have a publication. Because remember, everybody has the clerkship letter, clinical clerkship letter. Every foreign medical graduate has that. And more importantly, most American graduate will have some research anyway. Why? Are they more brilliant than the foreign medical graduates? Absolutely not. What happens in America is because they are not allowed to appear for medicine till they do a graduation, and some of them do graduation in very good subjects. For example, biomedical engineering from, say, Georgia Tech or MIT. How can you beat that? So they automatically get that extra 3 years. In that 3 years, they automatically have publication, and that's where it is no more fair playing field. So foreign medical graduate, if they need to create a fair playing field, plus if they want to have an edge to come to the top 1%, the only way is having a research publication or a LOR, which is very strong, saying this person has worked. Not even publication, even if it says that this person has worked in research and he trained in research and he's on the way to get a publication, that's enough. Because remember, and if you do get a publication, then it's like adding 4 stars or 5 stars to your CV. So that's the second most important. The third is, of course, how you appear in the. You have to be confident, because they'll ask you, "Oh, you did research. What research did you do?" They don't expect you to be a professor of research or an Einstein in your interview. They just want to be friendly and ask what you did. So whatever you say. But you have to say that with confidence. Okay, I did this course. I was always interested in research, and I want to be a physician scientist. It doesn't matter. You may be the first guy getting out of medicine and practicing in some lane in United States of America. It doesn't matter. But at least in the Viva table, you say, I want to be in academic medicine, and that's why I did research. So all these makes a difference. That creates an impression that automatically propels you to the top 1 to 2%, which will not only guarantee getting more interview invitation, but also guarantee to get you into a program, whereas others will not.
Yeah. So let's build on it a bit. Let's say I have research experience or publications on my ERA CV. What do programs expect? What will they ask me in the interview?
So they will ask me, okay, I see that you have worked on this. What does your research, whatever it is, suppose I do a case report, so or I have a experimental article. So depending on what you do, that has got different values. So I'll give you the exact scenario, what we do, what is the norms given to us to ask questions. So you see, there are a different type of research. There are experimental research. So a lot of kids, when they come, they already have done research at a basic science level, which is, of course, the highest. The second is those who do not get a chance of doing basic research, and quite a few do not. They do reviews or they do meta-analysis. And last but not the least, but lowest in the rung, is doing case reports. So suppose a guy comes to me and I see there is work he has done on whatever XYZ, I mean, role of a particular bacteria as gut microbiome to eradicate depression. So then I'll ask him, okay, what did you do? What was your model? Did you use a rat for that? Was it a human being? Oh, you did a human being. Was it during your gastroenterology rotation, or was it during your medicine rotation? So we will ask you basically a question based to find. See, our idea is not to show that you're great or you're the worst candidate I've seen. The way we are trained, being on the other side of the table, is how we can try to get the best among you. So if I ask you this question, okay, my friend, it looks like you did a good paper on, basically whatever you do, we'll always say it's a good paper, because we'll never bring down anything. But in our mind, we know where they stand. So somebody can do just a case report, but if he's very well presented, if he presents it very well, well, sir, I had 15 days of medicine and I saw this beautiful case. I went home and I looked up Cochrane and I looked up PubMed. I couldn't find a report, so I wrote a report. Yes. So that is that. What would I, as a program director, this kid is really intelligent. He went home, he took the trouble. I mean, most people would go home, they'll go to sleep. Nobody would be getting ready for the next day. But when I see a kid who takes the extra trouble to go home and read and find out that he has seen something which is not very well reported, and he comes back and writes a case report on that, that automatically propels him. So that's the way we ask questions to people who do research and whatever they do in research. Now, as I said, the table is slightly turned in case of fellowship. So most of the top fellowship, as you know, is difficult to get if you do a very small community hospital. They look for bigger hospitals. But remember, USMLE codes do not play a role. So that's good and bad in one sense. Why is it good? It's good because sometimes you may not land up with a good USMLE score. It happens to everybody, and no big deal. But the good reason is that in fellowship, number one, they will not look at those scores. They look at what research you did. Now, I have gotten people into residencies who do not have good USMLE scores. Why? Because of research. Because people know, program directors know that you're sitting at home for 3 months and you're reading, you will get a better score than me, who's suppose doing my biotech at MIT or Georgia Tech or doing my neuroscience from Stanford. No way would I get the same time to study that you do. So USMLE, it's not black or white, it's always gray. So if you can show that you are productive, you've done other things, nobody will hark upon your USMLE score. I would say it's a very, very soft point. But a guy who has done almost nothing, no research, nothing worth showing in his CV, yes, if you do not have a USMLE score, chance of you getting in is extremely low.
Okay. So now let's switch gears and talk a bit about the unique research course that you have. So tell us a bit about how this course works.
Yeah. So what we do with the course is that we had 3 or 4 things in our mind when we prepared the course. Number one, we know these people who are applying as foreign medical graduates can be on any part of the world, so they must have access to the course from anywhere in the world. That's the first thing we need. Second thing we did is that our idea is to not make PhDs out of the medical students. Our idea is to give them enough knowledge so that they can read a journal, which you're expected in your residency, because you'll have journal club. You have to present, say, New England Journal of Medicine. But if you do not know what Kaplan-Meier curve is, you're not going to present it. And if your presentation is bad, you get marks on that. So it's very important that they know certain basic things. And those are the things that we train. We don't train them to become data scientists. Third is it's a short, fast, quick, and dirty way to get a publication. Because ultimate Bible is whether you have a publication. And so the quick, dirty way is we teach you, and then we have a faculty who sits with you. Again, that's remote too, and handholds you to get to a publication. Okay. Now, so somebody who did 5 years of medical school with absolutely no research experience, do we expect them to be masters in 3 months? No. And we don't even expect them to be. Neither they need to be. What we need them to have the basic knowledge, and then we handhold them to have a publication, so that when they apply to ERAS, they get to the level, they get that competitive edge to be the top 1 or 2%, so that they get more interviews and their chance of getting in is way, way higher, 1,000 times more higher than a candidate without any research experience or research paper.
Okay. So you spoke about publications. So how many publications can I expect as a student if I work hard from this course?
So that depends on how long you're working. Most people who have worked with us for like a year can get at least 2 to 3 publications, because that's how we are geared. We are geared to have multiple publications, and we'll make you part of those publications. Easily you can get that. Now, if you're coming for a short time, then what we do is, as I said, we want to make it quick and dirty so that you don't miss the opportunity. For example, you're applying in September. You don't have 1 year. You have 3 months. So we want to make it quick and dirty so that this application also doesn't miss the bullseye, and you get in this application also. So in those cases, at least we can try to get 1 publication, so that when you apply, And then we have some tricks that we use. Suppose when you apply, you may have the publication, you may not have the publication. Even if you don't have the publication but you work, it doesn't matter. Why? Around October, November, when they actually call for interviews, before that we send, and I've used that trick many times. I send a letter. I send a you get a strong LOR anyway, saying that you worked on the publication. The publication has been sent to you, so you automatically become the top 10%. Then in October, November, before your interviews, we send a letter. You send a letter, the particular candidate sent a letter to the program director, all the program directors that he has applied, saying, sir, I have there's a change in my CV, I've got a publication. So see what that does, that is a double whammy. Not only are you getting a publication out of those 2,000 applications, this is one letter coming to me saying, so I will be forced to look at that guy's CV anyway out of the 2,000. I'm not going to see all the 2,000. So who are the guys who's going to see those 2,000 applications? He's going to be my clerk. She doesn't understand research. She does understand research. She does not understand anything else. She's like a robot who knows three things. Is it 99 percentile in US Assembly? Yes, no. Put it in this chart. Does he have a research publication? Yes, no. Put it in this chart. And then you based on that, they'll call 10% for interview. So if you're like 2,000 people, they'll cost 20, sometimes 30 people for some people places which are very big program, they'll call 50 people. If there's suppose 10 residencies, 10 seats, they'll cost 50 people. That depends on what place this is. For example, I'll give you an example. If it's a very, very good center, which they know they'll get whoever they want, they don't call extra people because they don't want that extra labor. But if it's a small community program, generally they interview way more than they get, because they know the guys they are matching, they may not come to them at all. So they might go for better places. So that's how it works. So when you send a letter saying, okay, I got a public, first of all, you get a LOR. Other than your observership clerkship, you get LOR from me saying this is what he done. So again, automatically you're the top 10% or top 15% anyway. Then you send them a letter saying there's a change in my CV, my publication has been accepted, or I'm presenting this at this or there, or I put an abstract, that abstract got accepted, whatever. That's a technique to get yourself to the top 1 to 2%, so that your chance of getting interviewed increases.
Okay. So you spoke about earning an LOR, which is a great thing. It's a unique course which actually gives a research LOR. There's also a research certificate. So can you tell us a bit about what this course certificate is that you offer?
Yeah. So what we offer is that, as I said, medicine today is based on research. Even if you read the New England Journal of Medicine, you won't be able to interpret the journal or present in any of the mortality conferences or present in any journal club conferences. You'll have journal club every week. That's part of the medicine curriculum, unless you know basic research. So what we do is we do this basic clinical research that every resident in America needs to know. And we provide them a certificate that we did the research course. You see, it's the population that is applying as FMG is extremely heterogeneous. Let's take for granted some people are coming from, say, India. Now, India, two different colleges might have two different syllabus. It's not homogeneous, unlike the United States of America. And even worse is somebody coming from Libya, somebody coming from Egypt, somebody coming from India, it will vary even more. So to create the homogeneity, it is important that they go through a research course, and their program director knows that he understands basic research. In that course, we have taught them how to read a medical journal, how to write a systemic review, how to write a meta-analysis. Then that particular program director will automatically get attracted towards this student. See, it's very important to understand that when you're on the other side of your table, you're interviewing students. You cannot kick somebody out just because you don't like his face, or you cannot take somebody just because you like his face. It has to be on certain solid points. So in America, it is a little different. I mean, personal relationship as such, networking works, but personal relationship doesn't work. It's not that you get somebody in just because he's your son. So when the program director's son is applying, then the program director steps out to take the interview. So when we give marks on these points. What is his strong points? So one strong point is he headed research course. He knows basic clinical research. So let's take him compared to another foreign medical graduate coming from some other country or some other place. We do not know what his background is. There's nothing in his CV which tells us that he has any research background or any research training.
Okay, so now let's say I've joined the course. So if you can walk me through day in the life, what happens once I enroll?
Right.
How does the checkpoints work? How do the topic selection, number of meetings, frequency, etc.?
So once you join, number one, we get a thank you letter for joining, and at the same time send you the entire course date, time when you have your meetings, and you get access to the 12 weeks courses. So first week, you get access to the first 2 hours, which is basic statistics, how to read a journal, how to interpret it. Now, every course is started with 6 questions based on that course. So if you do not know anything about research, you may not be able to answer a single question, which is very good. That's what we want. Then you do the video, you see the video. And as I said, the video can be seen anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet. And then after you see the video, you answer the next 10 questions. Out of that 10 questions, 6 are the same question that we asked pre, so that you yourself have that positive feedback. Listen, I couldn't answer these questions, now I can answer those. At the end of the week, on the weekends, you then have 1 hour with the faculty. The faculty does 3 things. First of all, faculty will answer any questions from the video that is difficult to answer or you did not understand. Second thing, in first 2 weeks, the faculty will help them understand certain basic research nuances which they should know as a resident. And then then the third thing they do is actually handhold them to do research. Now, how do you do that? So suppose there are 2 ways. One, when it's a short, quick, and dirty, generally what we do is we already have research projects so that it's easy for these students. They don't have to create a new project, start working on it. That takes pretty long time. And remember, most papers will take at least 3 to 4 months sometimes to publish. So you need to get into a project that's already on the way. So you just jump onto the project. Suppose second or third week, we say, okay, why don't you go to PubMed and search out these topics? Diabetes, SGLT2, kidney disease. Search out this. So you come and search out. In the 4th or 5th week, we tell you, okay, why don't you write the introduction? And those also, a group of people will be doing it. So at the end of 12 weeks, one of the couple things will happen. One is they do the research training, they pass the research training, they get the certificate. Number two, they work on the research training and they do as they are directed, but they come out with a publication that is not good enough to go into any journal. That's fine for us because we are not expected to make them in 3 months an expert. So we will work on the journal and get it published so that they get the publication. And that's why they are paying for it. Second reason they are paying for it also is the fact that journals are extremely costly to publish. An open access journal costs almost $2,800 to $3,200, extremely costly. So that's how they get the publication. Suppose they write good, then that's even better. If they write good, then we don't need to do much, but we will continue to publish. Maybe they can do 2 articles. You are asking how many do they need? Maybe they can do 2 publications at the same time if they have already an experience in research. So basically the entire spectrum, starting from people who have absolutely green with no research experience, cannot even spell the word research, to somebody who has some experience, to somebody who's very well experienced, maybe has done some of the courses in their own country, like a PhD before going into medicine, or was a pharmacologist before going into medicine. They get multiple papers. So the entire spectrum is covered in a way that nobody misses the bus. Everybody's taken to where they need to be.
Well, thank you very much. That was very, very comprehensive. And did we miss anything? I know you spoke about a presentation also. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I can, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to show you that, if you don't mind me sharing my screen.
Of course.
I wanted to show you where we stand and what is though we answered most of the question, but I wanted to give you actual statistics, how it is getting more and more difficult at every stage to get into this. So this is the chart showing the number of applications. So if you look carefully, total number is almost the same. 22, 23 looks slightly more than 2021. That's only because during COVID, the numbers taking in were less. But total numbers were same. This is a thing that I like showing so that people understand what they are standing against. As I said, in the early 20s, 2022, if you look, around 12,000 people applied and only 8,000 got. So around 4,000 did not get. But look at 22, 23 onward. Almost 14,000 applied and only around 9,000 got. So that's 5 to 6,000 difference. Now, that has been the norm now. Same with end of 23, you can see that huge difference. So difference is increasing day by day. And almost 6% of American citizens don't get into residency the first year. So you can understand how competitive it is. Now, this is from the National Resident Matching Program. This is not my own data. This is the standard data, as you know. Anybody can go online and look for this data. In 2023, 7,000 IMGs applied and around 3,000 never got anywhere. So this number has been increasing day by day because it's getting more competitive. There are more people coming in. We have to remember that those who do not get it last 2-3 years, they don't sit quiet. They add to this year's pool. Plus, we have the same number, or sometimes we have even more number coming in some of the years. So total pool consistently increases. It will never ever decrease. Whereas the number of seats has remained pretty stagnant. Number of seats don't increase, and that's what it happens. So as I said, that this course is totally dedicated to bridge the gap between medical school, residency, and how you get into it. Because we want to have a short, quick, dirty way to give you a high quality recommendation letter other than the observership, the clerkship, where you just are an observer. We want to give you a clerkship that with residency experience that shows that you have substantial research background based on what is needed for a residency program. What this does is it enhances competitiveness. As I said, if 2,000 people are applying for a 10 residency, for a 10-seat residency, not more than 20 to 30, maximum 50 people are called for that interview. So you have to be in that 50 to even get a chance. If you're not within that 50, you're completely out. There's no chance of you getting in. So get in that 50, your CV or your LOR must contain something that majority of others do not have. And that's why you will see a lot of people coming and saying, oh, I had such a brilliant day in my school. I did this, I did that, but I never got into the residency. Somebody who was not so great got into. It's technique, it's protocol. America is totally protocolized. So America has fixed criteria to look, because we can't look at people's faces and say, oh, this guy's face looks good, let's take him. We cannot do that. There has to be a solid point. And the solid point that enhances your competitiveness is getting a high quality LOR showing your research. Because I cannot differentiate people between what, even if you do observership at Harvard, it doesn't matter, it's still an observership. So observership at Harvard or in a community college doesn't really matter, because I have no way to find out how brilliant you are. But even if you do observership at a small place, but I see that you have research, that I know how brilliant you are, because the research is your own creation. So that's what we do, and we offer comprehensive support during the entire process, so that if you're good in research, you get a bunch of good articles. If you're starting research for the first time, we handhold you to get a publication so that your name is there in the publication, and we give you LOR so that you get into residency. So every hue and color of research training, research background, we take care of when you do this program. So, the challenges in securing medical residency is very simple. Number one, as I said, the biggest challenge is limited residency positions with increasing pool of people applying. And that's why nowadays, where there are 8,000 people, the pool has got 14, 15,000, but only 7 to 8,000 get taken. So it's highly competitive. And of course, USMLE step score. Now, the tragic part is sometimes we may not land up getting very good scores. It happens to everybody. And the question is, so is your future dead? Absolutely not. you can make up your future completely, because technically USMLE score is a soft point. It's an important point, but it's a soft point. Why? If you get research that overrides your USMLE score, because I rather have a guy with lower USMLE score who I know is brilliant because he has done a bunch of research, than having a guy with 99% score who may have sat in his home for the last 6 months and studied. So how am I supposed to know? The only way to know is if he has a research that I know that this guy has got a creation of his own. And that's what makes the difference. That's what beats everything else. So why choose the program? So there are a couple of reasons why choose. As I said, it is a quick, dirty way to increase your LOR to become the top 1 to 2% who are applying. All that you need to do is you have to bump up your application so you are in the top 10%, so you get an interview. And in the interview, you have things to talk about and say, not say, oh, I did from this place in India, or that place in Egypt, or that place in Jamaica. They don't care. They have to ask you because where you did, where you stay, so they'll ask you all those questions to get friendly to you. But they don't really care whether you're coming from Timbuktu or Jamaica or India or China. They don't care. They want to see the guy am I taking, what is he capable of doing. So that's why we provide hands-on experience and online, so that you are made to publish, which is the ultimate point that will take you. And we do give personalized training plans that will tailor you to what you want to do. You want to be a resident, so you have to be performing basic reading for presentation in journal club, for doing morbidity and mortality conferences. If you do not know what a KM graph shows, how are you going to present the first week of your journal club? You cannot. So this is what we do. Last but not the least, the most important thing is, what is your LOR on? Is your LOR on only clerkship where you did observership, or along with good LORs from your observership, which you guys I know provide, do you also have a highly valuable letter showing that you are research trained and you have a publication either on the way or you have already published? So that is the difference between other programs and our programs. Publication opportunity, I think you are asking a question. We always publish in high impact journals, which are in the PubMed, Scopus, everywhere. I mean, there's not even a single publication that we do which is not in the PubMed. And also what we do is we make sure it's open access, so that you can download your publication and send copies to your program directors. And program directors can see those publications without opening up those journals, because even if it's a top journal publication, if it's not open access, then you don't have access to it unless you have subscription to that journal. So that's number one. Number two is, who are your co-authors? Your co-authors are renowned researchers and faculty who are faculty in the United States of America. So that itself gives your publication a different status. Other than getting it into good journal, it also gives you a different status. Next, of course, the high quality recommendation letter. When you work with us, you teach, you learn, we handhold you to a publication. Whatever you do at the end of 12 weeks, we get you a publication. Along with that, we give you the LOR stating that we did mentor you, you're a good candidate, and you had a detailed letter saying that you performed pretty good and your publication has already been published, or your publication is on the way, it has been sent to multiple journals, we are waiting for acceptance. Remember, for a medical graduate, it is okay to say that publication has been sent in your LOR, because every program director, if you look at their CV, they had multiple publications, otherwise you don't get to be a program director. So they know that it's not like an on and off switch. You send it to a journal today, tomorrow the switch is on and you get it published. No, it doesn't happen like that. As long as the mentor tells you that you worked hard, you got a good background, and you have a publication on the way, they will accept it, and you will jump to the top 10% who will be called for the interview immediately. Next thing is, of course, you network with other students. You learn what they are doing, because this is one place where you learn what the other people who are applying, what are they doing. And a lot of times you have opportunities to talk with them and work together to maybe write the introduction to an article, write the limitations to an article. And the faculty who's teaching you will show you, okay, this is how you write it. So that the end product is completely polished, very well done. It gets published and you get the good name. The learning options that we provide is totally flexible. If you want to come to the US, you want to get your clerkship, observership, at the same time you want to do research, you can do that. You don't have to be in any particular place in the US, anywhere in the US. You want to sit in your country, which could be in any island in the Pacific, or in the Egypt, or in India, or in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Jamaica, you can sit and do it. Because all you need is internet, and you have access to this. So what it does is, remember, like I did my training when I was doing research fellowship. So I worked in the lab from 7 to 8 or 9 in the evening, and then I had to study for USMLE. So I have to have a balance. And so that the students can have a balance, that's how we made this professional training, so that you can keep up with your professional commitment. There are people in other countries who might have to still work as a physician. At the same time, they're studying for USMLE and applying for residency here, so that they can do their professional commitment. At the same time, they have enough time to do this research fellowship. Technically, you don't need more than 10 to 12 hours in the entire week. And that is like 3 to 4 times than what you actually need, because each course is just 2 hours. 1 hour is what you meet up with the faculty. So technically, in 3 hours, you're done. I'll still add 4 times that amount and put it in 12 hours. So that's a very small amount of your total week. So it's easy for you. It's made flexible so that you can easily do it and go to the next paradigm in your career. So we have workshop on different, as you said, the teachers will actually show you how to do the interview in the research, how to answer the research interview. We'll have workshops and webinar. In that, when you're meeting up with this faculty, they'll actually teach you that when they talk about research, what they ask, what you're expected to know, so that when they face that interview during residency, they will know when they ask a research question what to. Like I told you, even if your plan is to sit in some small lane and earn millions of dollars, that's fine. But that's not what you're going to say. You have to say, I want to be an academic physician. I want to be a physician scientist. So those things we prepared them in this 12 weeks so that they are completely ready what to do. And also we sometimes provide them, we navigate, we guidance also we provide as to the research. Somebody says, okay, I want to be a research. You remember once we did, the last time we did a webinar with you, somebody asked the question, I want to be an academic physician, is it different? Absolutely, we can guide which are the places which takes a foreign medical graduate but has got a good academic background too. We can do that too. So the research project is innovative. This is one more question that we are often asked, do I get to choose? Yes. But you have to remember, if you're choosing for this year, chance of you choosing is less, because it might take 3 or 4 months, even way after your application, to get a publication. So we have both the ways. One way is you choose your research topic, you work on the research topic, we'll handhold you. The other is more quick and dirty. You don't have time. You just want to get into residency in this country. Fine. We put you in existing project and your job is done. So we have both the way. So if you want to have an innovative research project of your own, nobody in this world can stop you from getting it. But if you do not have time, we have the other options also. So basically, it's a structured program which includes biostatistics, scientific writing, and clinical trials. Only those point that you need for going through your residency and applying to your residency. You can take global health projects if you want. You can take projects that we are doing, and these are all supervised by top academics, so that and we handhold people. These are faculties who have had multiple who have been previous program directors and have done lots of research. They have huge research in their CVs. So these are the people who will guide you. We have weekly live question and answer sessions. So you have a physical person to ask your question. They will check in your progress, boost your academic and professional profiles, and how to do that will be helping them also. Like one question I think that you were asking is, how do we check in? So once they come in, the first week I told you, then second, third week, that same thing happens. On the 8th week, we meet one by one. I meet them personally one by one and give them an understanding of where they are, what they need to do better. if they're doing extremely good, what else can they need to do more than one publication. So we have a one-to-one chat with each student, so they understand where they exactly stand. And at the end, again, we have a meeting with them before we give them the research certification, as well as we write the LOR for them so that they get the maximum advantage to be in the top 1%. Why our letter of recommendation is unique? Number one, is tailored to highlight your specific achievement and skills, which is the most important part. It's written by renowned mentors that enhances letters' impact. Most of us who write the letters, including me, most of us are top academics in this country, so it gives you a different focus. It focuses on high quality research, contribution, and publication, because that's what we do. I don't want my research to go into some non-PubMed journal which nobody reads. So all my research goes into top journal, and you're writing. I'm driving the car anyway. I've got a bunch of empty seats. You're just going to jump up and be with me in that journey. So that's how we help you out. We have demonstrated track records. We have people who got chosen into academic courses, university courses like Tulane, Virginia Commonwealth University, a bunch of university courses. It is very sometimes difficult for a foreign medical graduate to get into these residencies, but we have got people in there. The only reason was that the basic forum, the basic understanding is, did you do research? If you do research, you will get into academic programs. It's much easier to get it than otherwise. So I think these are the thing that is most important. The other thing is comprehensive publication support. As I said, it doesn't matter what level of research you know or experience you have. It doesn't matter. We handhold people with absolutely no research experience on one end, and also we help people with known publication and research experience to fine-tune their research to get out more publication. And people in the middle with some experience, not really a lot, we handhold them so that they get both publication as well as the knowledge that they need as a resident in a residency program here in the US. So that's the main important thing to get you successful. And you can go to our site, you can see people who have applied, they have got into places, top universities, they have given their testimonials, and how they were asked questions in their residency. That what research did you do? What did the research show? And you'll be surprised, even there are students who had negative research, but they got taken in because people are not trying to see whether you're an Einstein or not. People are trying to see, did you have the intelligence to do a research? The result may be anything. People a lot of time tell me, what if I get a negative result? They don't care if you get a negative result. They want to see if you have done research or not. So in fact, there are people who have got negative results, and multiple times I have seen that they have got taken in. So that's another wrong idea people have. What if I do a research on one topic, I don't get a good, doesn't matter. They are not trying to see what your results show, because they are not planning to give you a Nobel Prize out of your research. What they're planning to do is getting you a residency. So they just want to know if you have done research, and if you have done research, that's good enough to get into a residency.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Basu. I think this has been excellent. And of course, we went over all these questions, I think. So
yeah, plus they're all there in our website.